Okay, hey everyone. So for this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about Vue.js. Um, I've done a decent amount of React programming and a little bit more Vue programming. I enjoy both um, frameworks or libraries, but maybe Vue a little more. I want to just really quickly demo what Vue is, maybe point out a few of the things I like slightly more. And to start you off, I just wanted to show you the Vue homepage. The documentation is great, so if you have questions, it pretty much gives you everything that you need to know to get going. There's a couple things that they're going to highlight here. They think that Vue is really approachable. It's an advantage. Um, React maybe takes a little bit longer to get to know and understand. But if you already know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you get reading their documentation, you can get going. It's versatile and performance. It's very minimal, pretty quick. So let's go ahead and jump into it real quickly. Best way to get to know something is to build something. So we're going to build something pretty simple that hopefully will highlight some of the things I like about Vue. So I have the Vue CLI installed. So I'm just going to say Vue. Make sure it's Vue create. We're just going to make a simple counter. So we'll do Vue-counter. And we're just going to go with the default install option. While it's installing real quickly, I'm just going to come back over here. They have comparison with other frameworks. Comparison with React. Says React and Vue share many similarities, and they do. They're both trying to accomplish the same thing. One of the main things I want to highlight, though, you can look through all of them if you're interested, but Vue just uses, by default, just uses HTML and CSS for its templating. They have some tricks that will allow you to put some JavaScript in there, but by default, it doesn't use JSX. If you are in love with JSX for some reason, you can use JSX. But whereas React, you have to use JSX. By default, in Vue, you don't. And JSX is good in many instances, but it does look a little funny and feels, I don't know, it can feel weird if you're not used to it. So that's installed. So we're going to go ahead and change directories in there. We're going to open this up in Visual Studio Code. And we're going to start the server within, oops, excuse me. We're going to start the server. This second we're going to go ahead and start the server here. Okay, while that's starting up, just super quickly, here's kind of the folder structure. You get a public folder, which has an index.html file. It's got a div in here with an ID of an app, and this is where Vue is going to kind of take over, very similar to React. You can put other things like CSS files in here, whatnot. In the source folder, got some assets. Typically, we put things like images there. Components, obviously, where your Vue components will go. And then kind of your main entryway, your most parent component is this app.vue. You can see real quickly, Vue is made up of a Vue component is made up of three parts: template, tag, a script tag, and a style tag. The template is where your HTML is going to be for the component. Your script tag is obviously where all your JavaScript will live. And then style, one really quick note about style, you can add a keyword of scoped. You can add the scope keyword to it. Something I really like is that then all of the CSS will only apply to the HTML here in this template. Pretty cool. I like how that works as well. We are going to go ahead and pull this up. You can get the splash page, localhost 80, and I built it out beforehand. That's what we're going to build. We're now running on E1. So kind of got a glimpse of what we're going to build. Built this out beforehand real quickly. So here's the splash page. We'll just link you to the documentation. We don't want this hello world, so we're going to take this component out. And we don't need to register that as a component anymore. We're going to go ahead and make our own component. So let's make one called counter, counter.view. We'll come back here in just a second. App.view, we're now going to import counter from components counter.view. We'll register the component there, and that will give us access up here to be able to render it. Now, if we refresh that, we're going to leave that image there because why not? We have nothing in that component, so we've got that image here that we're rendering, and then this counter component. So let's go work on the counter component. I've got a VS Code extension installed, so I can just type Vue and hit tab, and that's going to give me a skeleton of a Vue component. So again, template script style. Inside of the template, we can only have one parent element. So I'm going to give a section tag. And what I mean by that, like I couldn't come down here and add another section or another div. You can see the Vue linter is going to tell me the template root requires exactly one element. So we're going to do everything inside of this section. It could be a div or whatever. Any valid HTML will work. Inside of here, we're building a counter. So let's put an H2 tag. And we'll just put a little label here. It says count. We can refresh this, we get a count right there. Let's move on to the job. We'll come back and add more to this template here, but to move on. So inside of the script tag, we have to have this export default, and we're going to export basically our Vue instance. And what that Vue instance includes a few things. The first attribute is a name. We should always give it a name. Give the component a name. So we're going to call it counter. Another thing you can do, just a quick comparison to React. If you're used to props, you can define props here. We're not going to pass any props in here, but this is where you would define props. I'll just leave that there so you can see it. The next thing is our state. Our state is going to live in this data method. In our data method, we're going to have a single return statement. That's it. And we're going to return a JavaScript object. And in that object, we can define any variables we might need. So obviously, we're going to need a count variable, and we'll initialize it at 0, just like that. And if I come back up to my template, I can reference it, the Vue syntax inside of the template to access any JavaScript methods or state that we have in here. You can just go like this, double curly brace, and we're going to say count. So if I save that and come refresh my page, and look at my page, I now have count at 0. So for a good old-fashioned counter, we're going to need a couple buttons. So we're going to add an increase. We'll just say increase, and we'll add a button to decrease. We're going to need some methods that will go ahead and alter our state. So all of our methods are going to live. We have this built-in data method with Vue. We also have the built-in methods. Methods is an object, excuse me. And we put all of our methods we want in this methods object. So we need an increase method and a decrease method. And an increase will simply be this dot count plus equals 1. And this will be this dot count minus equals 1. And we can go ahead and reference those with a Vue event handler. Let's say @click, and then we're not going to call the method. We're just going to reference it. Vue will handle calling it for us. So we're going to reference decrease here, And if we go ahead and come here, refresh the page, hit increase, boom, gonna decrease, increase, whatever you want to do. Real quickly, I have the Chrome extension for Vue installed, so we can come look at the state for the counter. You can see here's our data. Again, I can increase it here, and it's going to go ahead and respond the same way. Just like React, it's going to go ahead and re-render. Smart, it's going to go ahead and re-render what it needs to. If we alter the state at all, it's going to go ahead and re-render what it needs to. So that's basically the counter app, really simple. I do want to show you real quickly one other thing. It's not necessarily part of, obviously, a counter, but just to highlight one other thing that I really like about Vue, and that is its, what are you? I don't know what's being funny. Okay. So we're going to add one other div here, and in here, want to highlight Vue's data binding. I really think it's slick. So let's add an H2 here, and we'll say hello, and we're going to access a variable called name, so we can get the person's name. And of course, that's not going to work unless we define it in our state. So we'll define a name, or just initialize that as an empty string. And then somewhere for them to write their name, we'll give an input tag, type text, and we're going to go ahead and use this vModel directive in Vue. We're going to reference name. What that's going to do, I don't need to write a method, anything like I would have to in React. This is going to go ahead and automatically, it's called Vue's two-way binding. It's automatically going to bind whatever we type in here with our state here. And of course, we're referencing it here. So as they type in their name, it's going to show. So let's save that, and you can see what that looks like. So hello, Bradley. It's going to type that out there. Hello, world. It's going to type that out there. And again, one last time, we'll come look at the Vue developer tools. And if we look, we've got our name in here. I can alter that and say hello. And if as soon as I enter this, it's going to change the state. And not only has it changed it here, but also in our input. So it's automatically synchronizing that, which I think is pretty cool. Anyways, this is just kind of an introduction. There's a lot more to Vue. Again, both React and Vue are great frameworks. You can get the job done with either one of them. But that hopefully highlights just a few of the things that I appreciate about Vue. So thanks for watching.